What's up, guys? We're doing the same worksheet, 4.3 WSP, but on this video we're doing the even ones. On the first video we did the odd ones, not all of them, but right here on this video we're going to focus in on the even ones, not all of them, but most of them, right? Or not most, but the assignment for today is to do 2 through 20 even. So I'm pretty sure you guys could do 2, 4, and I'll do 6, and you could do 2 and 4. Now once again, this first part says write an equation in point-slope form of the line that passes through each point and given slope. So let's first write down what point-slope form is, and we'll do number 6 together. Okay, so point-slope form is y minus y1 equals m parenthesis x minus x1 close parenthesis. That's point-slope form right there. Why do we call it point-slope form? Because you could clearly see the point x1, y1. This is a coordinate, and you could clearly see the slope. That's why we call it point-slope form. If it looks like this, if it's organized like this, you could see your point and your slope. That's why we call it point-slope form. And if they do give you a point and a slope, it's really easy to write your equation in point-slope form. All you do is take your x1, which happens to be 3, your y1, which happens to be -3, and your m value, which happens to be 1/3, and plug them all in. Now, when you plug them into here, I recommend rewriting this whole thing, but without the y1, without the m, and without the x1. I would put blank spots, like so. Anyhow, what is y1? y1 is -3, so let's put a -3 right there. Our m value is 1/3, so let's put the m's right here, so put a 1/3 right there. And last but not least, our x1 value goes right here, and x1 happens to be +3, so I just write a 3 right there, okay? And of course, the only other thing you could do to make this look nicer is change the minus to a plus. So there's your point-slope form equation, and that's what they want, right? The point-slope form equation given the point and the slope. It's the easiest thing to do. Let's move on to the next section. Well, first of all, this is your answer. And of course, on your answer or on the answer page, you're not going to have 2 plus signs, right? What's the point of having y plus 3? They're just going to have it as y plus 3. So let's look at this next section. It says write an equation in standard form, okay? So we just said that point-slope form was y minus y1 equals m parentheses x minus x1. Standard form, we need to remember, is capital AX plus capital BY equals capital C. And again, the reason why they're capitalized is to help you remember that you don't want any fractions and you don't want any decimals. You want it to be nice, either positive or negative numbers. That's what we call integers. And most of the time we want the A value to be positive. So all we have to do is make sure that our x's and our y's are on the left side of the equal sign, and that a number without any variables over here on the right side. So as you could see on all of these questions, and we're doing the even ones on this worksheet, they're all in point-slope form, okay? So number 14 is probably the most confusing one for some of us because of the decimal. It is in point-slope form. The slope is -2.4, and the point, the coordinate is, you got to think opposite, 3, 5. 3, 5 is the coordinate of this line, and the slope is -2.4. Anyhow, it's in point-slope form, not in standard form. Standard form, ax plus by equals c, has no parentheses, right? It has no parentheses. And not only that, it has the x's and the y's on the left side and the number by itself on the right side. So we need to get rid of the parentheses. How do we do that? Let's distribute to get rid of the parentheses, and then we're going to have to move this -3 over to the other side by adding 3 to both sides, and then we're going to have to move whatever x value we get over to this side, so it could actually be ax plus by equals c. So let's start by distributing -2.4 times x, that's -2.4x. -2.4 times -5, that's +12, I believe. And of course, use a calculator if you need it. And let's continue to rewrite everything. We have this equal sign that comes down, the -3 that comes down, and the y. So I do want my x's and my y's on the left side of the equal sign. So I need this x value over here on this side. So I'm going to add 2.4x, which will completely cancel out, and add 2.4x. Now think about that. It's like saying I have 1 orange and I want to add 2.4 bananas. You can't really add them together unless they're like terms, and they're not. So we're just going to rewrite it. Okay, so let me rewrite what we have here so nobody gets confused. 2.4x plus the y minus the 3 equals the positive 12 that's left over here on this side. Okay, so the minus 3 came down. This, you couldn't do it. We just rewrote it. And notice that I did not write y plus 2.4x. I wrote it with the x term first and the y term second, because that's what we want. X term first, the y term second. Now some of us already see that we have a decimal and we want to get rid of that. So if you want to get rid of the decimal now, we could, but it's probably easier to get rid of this minus 3 first. Let's get rid of that minus 3 by adding 3. Adding 3. So let me rewrite my whole new equation so far. That's going to be a 2.4x plus y equals 12 plus 3 is 15. Now again, I do not want a decimal. So in order for this decimal to move over 1 spot, I'd have to multiply everything by 10. Okay, so I need to multiply this by 10, this y times 10, and this 15 times 10. Okay, and when I do that, I'll get my final answer here. I'll do it in red. That'll be a 24x plus 10y equals 150. Okay. And I said final answer, but technically it's not my final answer. Why not? Because, I mean, this is correct. But remember, an equation, you could do anything you want to it as long as you do it to all the terms. So if you want to make this look nicer, recognize that all of these terms, 24, 10, and 150, those are all even numbers, which means you could at least divide everything by 2. And again, you could do that because it's an equation. You could divide everything by 2, and now you'll have your final answer. 12x plus 5y equals 75. Half of 150 is 75. There is your standard form equation for number 14. So that's as hard as it gets when you're having a point slope form changed to a standard form. I'm pretty sure you guys could easily do numbers 8, 10, and 12 now that you just saw how I did number 14. Let's go to the last section. It says write each equation in slope-intercept form. Okay, so just for a review here, we need to know what slope-intercept form is. Why do they call it slope-intercept form? Because if it looks like it's in that form, you'll clearly be able to see the slope, and you'll also be able to see the y-intercept. So let's actually review and write down the form. Y equals mx plus b. That's slope-intercept form right here. This is it right here. I haven't color coordinated it for you, right? The slope is in blue, the y-intercept is the b value in red right there. So they want us to make the equation look like this, and as you could see, none of these look like that. They all look like point slope form. That's what we're focusing in on this section, point slope form. I will do the last one, 20, and if you understand number 20, you'll probably be able to do numbers 16 and 18 very easily. So let's take a look at number 20. And of course, y equals mx plus b does not have parentheses. Y equals mx plus b does not have a number right here. It says y equals. That's what you want. You don't want this. So let's first begin by distributing this minus 3. So minus 3 times x, that'll give us a negative 3x. A negative 3 times 1/4. Whenever you're multiplying a number times a fraction, it's kind of like if you want to show your work on the side, you could take the negative 3 times and put that negative 3, put it over a 1, and then multiply it by that positive 1/4. And what you do is simply multiply the top with the top and the bottom with the bottom. So if you go 3 times 1, you will get 3 up on top, and 1 times 4, you'll get 4 on the bottom. So your answer is 3/4, and of course it's negative because a negative times a positive is a negative. So you will have negative 3/4. That is distributing that minus 3. And like I said, I'm doing the hardest one here. That way you could do the easier ones on your own with the same exact process. So what do we have right now? We have the equal sign. We have the minus 1/4 right here. We also have the y out in front. Now we do have an equation that has fractions, but you know what? Since they're fractions with the same denominator 4, let's keep them. Let's just keep them for now. Because remember, what is slope-intercept form? Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. And we almost have this looking like that. All we need is to get y by itself. I don't want this minus 1/4. Now, if I had a minus 1/4 here and let's say a positive 3/5 over here, I would get rid of fractions because they'd be different denominators. But the denominators are the same, which means that if I add 1/4 here, it'll cancel out. And what I do to one side, I need to do to the other side. So this is really a simple math problem because you have the same denominator, 4. So in other words, you owe 3 plus 1. You owe 3, you have 1, you're going to owe 2. And it's going to be over that same denominator, right? Or you could think of it as 3/4 of a dollar, that's 75 cents, plus 1/4, that's 25 cents. It's like if you owe somebody 75 cents and you only have 25 cents, you're still going to owe 50 cents, which is owing 1/2. Okay, let's go with the original way that I said. Common denominator, you could just do the math, numerator with the numerator. -3 plus 1 is -2. So you have -2 over 4, and -2 over 4 reduces down to -1/2. And of course this -3x comes down, and of course the equal sign comes down, and the y also comes down. And ladies and gentlemen, this is your slope-intercept form equation. Now some of us are thinking, wait a minute, we have a fraction right here. It's okay, right? Slope-intercept form, you could have a fraction in the slope, you could have a fraction in the y-intercept. It's the standard form, the ax plus by equals c, that we did in the middle of this worksheet. That's the form that you don't want decimals or fractions, okay? So you're doing 2 through 20 even. I already did 3 of the problems, no, actually 4 of the problems, which means you only have like 6 left, right? Or 5 left. Anyhow, good luck. See you later.